Well, hello and welcome to what is just an extra little video about the electronic ignition system I've fitted to my Kawasaki Z750 twin. This is the unit here that I bought, and as I said, it needed some modification to fit it because that's for 4-cylinder air-cooled Kawasaki's. But first of all, have a little look at the mounting. This is from the later belt drive model. It's only got two mounting points for the back plate, which would have been points, and the 750B, but you see the other two bits there that the points cover goes on to, it also sits on them because they're exactly the same height, so it's reasonably well supported, but it's just held in position by two screws. I'll get my phone set up on the tripod and we'll have a proper look at this and the modifications I did to make it work. Right, that's the original points cam that's adjusted as part of the timing advance mechanism. It measures, if I remember right, I think it was 13.5mm. Yeah, 13.5mm inside. This is a new magnetic one for the electronic ignition, and it measured exactly 15 or very slightly under inside. So what I had to do was sleeve it down with a piece of copper pipe, and it now fits on perfectly. I also had to file out here slightly where the little lobes of the adjuster mechanism fit in, because they wouldn't fit in. It was just slightly too tight, but it fits in perfectly now. It works perfectly. Just cleaned up the inside of that, put some coarse polish on it, and it moves perfectly now. I also had to make a spacer for the end, which was just a washer that was ever so slightly too tight, and I buffed it down on some sandpaper. Got it perfect. So there's no play, but everything moves freely. And the standard bolt. This itself, the total diameter of that is it 93, it looks like. Yeah, 93mm. But you only need one of these pickups because this is for the 4-cylinder, two double coils. So you only need one if you've got one double coil. These were mounted 90 degrees out. I had to move them around, but the holes are in the same place. I'm going to remove that one. I'll probably split this cable so that I can remove it as a complete unit rather than cutting the wires off there. I'm also going to earth this properly because I don't like the way it's earthed onto these little screws, and then it's earthed through this. I'm going to actually run it's not an earth, it's a grounding cable. Motorcycles aren't earthed. A couple of carp screws. Hold it in place. It holds okay on the two, and really that's all I had to do. This is from a Z400 twin, so the Z750 correct one might be the same diameter as that. You might not need to sleeve it, or it might even be slightly bigger than that and you need to bore that out slightly. But that's really all I had to do to make it work. I don't know how long this will last. I don't know if it is exactly the same as the Dyna ignitions, or if it's a cheap copy, or if it is exactly the same but it's like to a lesser specification. It's maybe ones that didn't test quite so well or something. I don't know. It looks absolutely identical. These aren't sealed. You can actually see components in there. So that isn't encapsulated in epoxy, which you expect it would be. There was no heat paste on there either, which I might do, but definitely if you're going to do that, you definitely want to make sure you've got an earth onto the top of that, or a ground rather, because that will partly insulate that. Because bad grounds can cause all sorts of problems with electronics. It's one good reason to go through your charging system thoroughly if you've had to replace your rectifier regulator, because that's one thing that can destroy them, especially when there's high currents involved. There's nothing else really I had to do. That's everything. See how it goes with this, but I'm tempted to use one of those ignition systems that keeps the points but only uses them as a switching signal, and actually just use this as a switching signal to take heat away from it, and just so there's a lot less current going through it. If that burns out at any point, that's exactly what I'll do with the second one, because you can get them. I mean, you can make something similar, but they don't cost very much, so it's well just to buy a proprietary one. Well, that's it. As I say, I need to remember if you're going to do this, that this is a 400 advance mechanism I've got on this, and it's a belt drive Z750. I've converted it back to chain drive, but there could be some differences.